Lesson 4G, inverse functions. So given the function f of x, calculate f inverse of x. That's what this is right here, f inverse of x. All right, so let's learn by doing examples here. So here is f of x equals 2x plus 4. So given this function here, what would be its inverse? And what's the meaning of inverse? Let's go ahead and graph this f of x function. What should it look like when I graph it on the graph there? What is it? It's a straight line. Somebody said it. Straight line, of course it is. Yes, yes. Y equals mx plus b. Y-intercept is 4. So the y-intercept is 4. And a slope of what? A slope of 2. So we're going to go up 2 over 1. And then or down 2 over 1 or down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. And then we get a straight line. So we have a straight line. So what happens with inverse functions is that the input of becomes the output, and the output becomes the input of the other function. What does that mean? That the input becomes the output and the output becomes the input. Just by looking at the graph right there, say for the y-intercept, what is the y-intercept of this line? What's the y-intercept? This is x and this is y. What's the y-intercept? 4. So that for all outputs become inputs. So that's a y is 4 now will become an input for the other function. And let's see. And for, I guess, let's see, what else can we do? What's another point I can change? Let me do this point here. This x is -2, become a y of -2. Let's go like something like that. And between those 2 points, I can draw a line. And that's going to be the inverse of it. So let's draw this line here. Let me see. So what it's doing is going up 2 over 4. So I'm going to go down 2 over 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here, goes through there. Down 2 over 4. Where? So this line is going through like this. This inverse function line going like that. And it's going like that. Oh, straight. It's supposed to be a straight line. Straight. Okay. What is the equation of this line that I just drew here? Let's find the equation of this line. What's the equation of this line? Let's see, y equals mx plus b. So this is going to be y equals mx plus b. What's the y-intercept of this line? What's the y-intercept? -2. And what is the slope of it? Let's say it goes through there too. So how much are we rising and then run? How much is it? Up 1 over what? Up 1 over 2. And so this is the equation of the inverse function. Y equals 1/2 x minus 2. Wait. Yes. Okay. Brianna, your mom is here. Okay, so that's the inverse function. Could I find the inverse function a different way without even graphing, without even doing any of that right here that I've done? All right, without doing any of this. don't do that, but I'm just doing it without doing this. Is there a way to do it? Yes, there is a way to find the inverse function without doing all that. Here we go. Here are the steps. Okay, step 0 is to get rid of f of x because f of x is y. So let's rewrite it as y equals 2x plus 4. Okay, now we're going to start with the steps. Steps of doing this. Step 1. Switch the x with the y and the y with the x. Switch the x and y. Meaning that wherever you see an x, you're going to substitute it with the y. Wherever you see a y, you can substitute it with the x. All right, let's go ahead and do that. So y is going to become what? X. And then 2 times what? X is going to become what? Y. Okay, that was step 1. I guess this is 1. I should put a 1 here. And then 2, step 2. Step 2 is going to be to solve for y. Solve for y. Get the y by itself. So how do we solve for y here in this equation? What's step 1? Minus 4 from both sides. So we're going to get, I'm going to put 2y on the left already, and I'm going to put x minus 4 on the right. And now what do? We got one more step to get the y by itself. Divided by 2, divided by 2. And so y is going to equal 2. We can go ahead and divide negative 4 by 2. Let me do that part first. What's negative 4 divided by 2? Negative 2. In front of x is an invisible 1. 1 divided by 2 is 1/2. So it's just going to be 1/2. And there's x. Put your x there. And it is 1/2 x minus 2, which is what we did here. Yes? Yes. So now all we got to do is replace. Step number 3 is replace y with f inverse of x. F inverse of x, and that is the inverse function. So f inverse of x is going to equal to 1/2 x minus 2, and that is the lesson for today. So let's do it here one more time. F of x is y, and then we switch the y with the x and the x with the y. Solve for y, and there's the function there, and there are the inverse functions. All right, so now let's just go through the procedure of finding inverse functions, not graphically but algebraically. All right, let's go. Okay, let's go problem number 2. We will not graph it. We will just find the inverse function algebraically with the steps. It's not even a step 1. It is step 0. F of x is what? F of x is y. So y equals negative 2x minus 6. Now we go to step 1. And step 1 is to do what? Switch the x with the y and the y with the x. X is equal to negative 2y minus 6. Now what? What's step 1? What are the steps in solving? Add 6 to both sides. So that's going to be negative 2y equals x plus 6. Then what? Divided by negative 2 on both sides. And then we get y equals, which I already want to replace it with f inverse of x, but let's go step by step. 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. That's going to be a negative 1/2. 1 divided by negative 2 is negative 1/2 x. And last step is to replace the y with f inverse of x. And that is the inverse function of f of x right there. That's it. There's that. Okay, let's go to number 3. F of x is y, so y is going to be equal to x squared plus 3. Step 1 is to switch the x with the y and the y with the x. X is equal to y squared plus 3. Now we solve for y. What do I do to solve for y? Minus 3 from both sides. So we're going to get x minus 3 equals y squared. Now, how do I get the y by itself? Is that square rooted? Is that what I hear? Square rooted? That is correct. Square rooted. And then we're going to get y equals, and then for this, we want the positive one, just the principal square root. So it's supposed to be maybe plus or minus, but we only want the positive one. And now we can replace the y with f inverse of x is the, that's probably, we don't need that step there, and we should have just gone straight to y is f inverse of x. Yes? Problem 4. All right, problem 4. Is that it? Okay. F of x is y, and can I just like go straight to the x equals 3/4 y plus 2? Is that okay? Yes, yes, it is okay. Then we do what? Minus 2. X minus 2 equals 3/4 y. Okay, now, how do I get the y by itself? Times it by the reciprocal. Times it by the reciprocal. Hold this over here and times it by the reciprocal. Cancel. I'm already going to switch that y to f inverse of x. And distribute this 4/3 in, maybe. So we're going to get 4/3 x. Put a 1 under 2. Put a 1 under negative 2. And we're going to get what? Negative 2 times 4 is what? Negative 8. And 3 times 1 is 3. All right. Last problem. Coming up here. All right, problem 5. Last one. G of x is going to be x equals cube root of y plus 2 minus 4. Now what? What's step 1? How about add 4? Add 4 to both sides. So x plus 4 is going to equal to cube root of y plus 2. Next, what's the next step in getting a y by itself? We're going to hold it and what? Cube it. Cube it, no? Hold it and cube it. Hold it and cube it. Cancel that. Y plus 2 equals x plus 4 to the third. And then what? Minus 2. So we're going to get y is already it is the inverse function. And let's go with G inverse of x is equal to x plus 4 to the third minus 2. And that is the inverse function. Okay. We're done. Easy lesson for today.